Good afternoon. How are you? Well, the reports, I'm sure, have gotten you all nervous, and I'm not saying without justification. But let's spend a few minutes talking about it. First of all, Jefferson has enabled us to have 75 degrees, and you can feel the moisture. It's 71 degrees humidity, and the wind is supposedly at 12 miles an hour, but not where I am. Trump is billing this assault on the world economic order as liberating families from their income. He doesn't say liberating you from your income, and liberating you from securities. Now let's take as an example those nations that we consider our friends. EU. Now, America's rate was 1.5% on imports. So that means if you were buying something that came within these tariffs, you'd pay 1.5% on it, on top of what is coming in for. Okay, guess the new price. We're going to add 20.9% to those goods. This is Trump, the friend of the families, the friend of the working class. So our allies are going to pay or be charged higher tariffs than Iran, who has been an historic enemy of Trump and of the Republican Party. So we have to consider where we stand. Now, Trump says he is mimicking McKinley. And you may remember that McKinley did become president and was assassinated. But before he became president, when he was a member of the U.S. Congress, he was a strong believer in high tariffs. And his belief in high tariffs was dictated by his efforts to protect the United States of America from foreign competition. This is the Free Trade Party. This is the Adam Smith party. So he believed in high tariffs, and by comparison, I suppose, among his staunchest and most aggressive persuasion was when he insisted that the tariffs be 50%. And he was so strongly in favor of these tariffs, they called McKinley the Napoleon of protection. So did it work? And this is the thing I think I heard at least one business-oriented journalist say when referencing McKinley, that it didn't work out so well. No, it didn't work out so well. Because of the tariffs that McKinley then in Congress convinced everybody to pass, it cost the Republicans seats in Congress. It reduced their number in Congress by 1/2. Also, our revenue went down, despite the promises then and now that the revenue would go up. Also, if you're following the stock market today, and I don't follow it closely, the Standard & Poor's 500 had the worst day since 2020. Same with NASDAQ. So, what reaction do we have from that? Well, we have some reaction, which I think is at this point only reassurance, which is a bipartisan proposal that Congress shall approve tariffs, period, end of story, not the president. And the real thing here is the belief by Trump's people that other nations will accept U.S. goods. There'll be a reordering of global trade. This is the opinion of our Commerce Secretary, Bill Nutnick to me and to everybody else. Experts say this is probably the biggest tax increase in 50 years. So, what are we going to do? Well, first of all, your personal reaction, understandably, is to take an accounting where these policies can hurt you. So, if you have investments in stock, they were affected today. But what will they be tomorrow and the next day if there are developments, positive developments, meaning a step back from this insanity? The White House has already said they're not going to negotiate these. Of course, this is the president of the big deal because he thinks he's a big deal. And so we can expect that he may negotiate. But it depends on what his real intent is. What is his intent? And I guess I've been saying this lately about where do you stand as the observer in our political scene, and what do you see, and how does that compare to other people's observation position in our changing, crazy, domestic and international political world? And the answer is, I can tell from the commentators, they say things like, doesn't he understand he's going to hurt this, that, or the other thing? And they never answer what it means if he does. And they suggest that all we have to do to cure this problem is to make him understand. But you've probably heard me say before, you can't propitiate an evil God, and you cannot fight with a person when you don't understand their objective. That's my remarks and other people's remarks over time about see what they say and understand they intend to do it. Whether it be Hitler's Mein Kampf or it's Trump's 2025 playbook, with the guy who wrote it directing traffic to our demise. So why would Trump want to destroy the world economy? Why would he want to destroy us as a nation? U.S., us. Why would he act in a way that politicians don't? Meaning, they seek the support of voters for the next election, or to have the political capital to do things. They're going to push the envelope a little bit of what is known by polls and otherwise to be the thinking of the public. But Trump doesn't care about that. And the only parallel I can think of, this is a hypothetical, is that in past revolutions, I'm not talking about ours necessarily, but we have the personnel for it. And I always point to Bannon as top of the list for the right-wing terrorist, conspiracy theorist who figures we just do what we want to do and we do it fast and quick enough, like a quick purse snatching on the street, and everybody will wake up and we'll be in charge. But every revolution has a couple of patterns, and the pattern is the one we're in right now. Just doing what you do, taking over, and you don't have to use violence, although you use economic violence. At some point, the people react. It becomes intolerable. The fear is great. And there is violence. And then that is treated as authorization for violence in return with the military. And when that happens, you have martial law. And then because of that, you can't change presidents, because the security of this once great nation is in his hands. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. Not if we are on the spot dealing with it. Yesterday I said, and I was not alone, that Booker should be the leader in the Senate. True. The current minority leader in the Senate is the Democrat co-sponsoring a bill that says the Congress should decide tariffs. I'm talking about Schumer. But Schumer, it seems to me, fell back when he should have gone forward. And Booker has gone forward when we need a true leader. And we cannot fritter away these possibilities. We need a strong, positive, firm, and powerful response. We can't say, well, let's see if it works. It won't work. That's not an acceptable position. But individually, how is this going to affect you? It is possible some goods are going to cost more as early as tomorrow or the next day. Cars, certain foods, things like that. And then it can get worse. And the question is, how do we mass the people of the world, the nations hurt the most by this, and lead us back to a republic? And that can only be done if people start staking out positions of courage to change and resist what is Trump's plain view. I don't believe for a minute Trump doesn't understand what he's doing. That's a frame of reference that dictates doing little or nothing except cajoling him to understand. And he doesn't need to understand. He knows exactly what he's doing. We're the ones who are fooling ourselves into an inaction by saying, oh, we just have to educate him. That's not it. He's doing what he wants to do in his frame of reference. He wants to destroy all these things. It is the premise of the most extreme right-wing movements to destroy government as it is and replace it, in this case, with a dictatorship. So that's what we're fighting against. And people want to wait until they see it, till they're rousted out of their own homes or kicked out of some school or lose a job that's not a government job or discriminated against for their sexual preferences, can no longer go to libraries, will be stopped and arrested for using the wrong words. All of this is possible. All of this is contemplated by Trump. The others who think this is business as usual and are taking bows for what happened in the election earlier this week miss the point. That's part of it, but that is not it. It is stopping the aggressive revolution to take away our freedoms by this wannabe despot. And that's what we're fighting for. So I'm going to a Democratic meeting this evening if my work allows me to get out to do that. I'm working on some papers. And I apologize for yesterday's delay, but I had zero bandwidth apparently for a long time, and I don't know why. And I don't expect I'll have that problem today, but I don't know. So apologies going backward, reassurances going forward, and I say have a good day from my cathedral of trees. All the best. Bye-bye.